Hey everyone, it's Eric back again here. Took me a little longer to get this video up than I would like to have, but I've been kind of working on trying to figure out how I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to post my videos, the cadence, and how I'm going to kind of prep for them. So it's just taking me a little bit longer to get everything up and running. This week we're actually going to talk about passwords. This video is going to be part of a series here that are going to cover things. We're going to cover the basics of passwords, password security, cryptography, cracking passwords, and two-factor authentication and password managers. We're going to do that over a series of videos because otherwise that would just get way too long. So let's get into it. Passwords, they're the front door to our online life. They're like locking your front door. If you use a poor password, if you use weak passwords, or you reuse passwords, it's just reducing your overall security. And cybersecurity is like a chain. It's the weakest link, so it's going to break first. And if your password is things like simply like password 1, password 123, 12345, whatever, those real basic passwords that we keep seeing showing up every single time a large data breach happens. If you continue to use those passwords, you're making that password that much easier for a threat actor to break. So you're basically leaving your front door to your home open when you use a weak password. We rely on passwords to keep individuals from accessing private data. I mean, just think about your email. What would you do if somebody got in and was rooting around in your email? More importantly, just think about what you use your email for. How many people here have received emails to reset passwords to all their other accounts? So if your email password is something basic, then your email is going to be compromised, and that's just going to compromise everything else. It's going to be a domino effect. So a lot of breaches, especially like you can look at the LinkedIn as one of the more recent breaches, just going back the years, you see what the common passwords are, and those are out there. Those are known. Password 123, password with a capital P. Maybe you throw an @ sign for the A and $signs for the S's. Stuff like that, they're common. People know about them. They are not secure. At that point, you might as well just not even have a password. Another issue that a lot of people do is you reuse passwords. So you have 15, 20 different accounts, and you only have 1 or 2 passwords. That's not secure. It leaves you open for what's called credential stuffing attacks, where a threat actor takes your username and your password from account A, from your email account, or from your from whatever, and now goes to something like your bank account, your online bank, and uses that same password that you use for every other account to access your online bank account. Now just think what they could do in your online bank account. Just think what they could do if they got into your Facebook. I mean, malware spread daily through Facebook. I mean, that's a very big one. If I can get into your account and I can send an email or a private message, from your online account to all of your contacts, it's going to be that much easier for me to go ahead and spread malware, maybe infect other systems, and then just keep daisy chaining to get a large botnet that where maybe I put a keylogger on there, and I'm just whatever it is. I mean, that's just that weak password opens you up for other attacks. So don't use weak passwords. Don't reuse passwords. Now, a lot of sites and a lot of places give you the recommendation that your password should be at least 8 characters, including uppercase, lowercase, letters, and numbers, and a special character. Well, that alone is weak. I did a very random digit password, 8-character password, including all 4 of those, into online. There's password strength checkers online. I don't recommend putting your actual password in there. I'm gonna put that caveat in there. But I ran it through there, and it's only gonna take them 9 hours for someone to crack that password if they're brute forcing. And brute forcing is, if they can get your hash value, brute forcing is 100% effective, because they're going to take it offline and just sit there and just try. And when it only takes them several hours to go ahead and beat that password, then they're going to keep going. They're going to get that password, and If you don't reuse passwords, well then they're still going to have access to that account, and if it's your email password, well then again they can reset all those other passwords. But so the minimum requirements of the 8 characters and stuff like that aren't creating strong passwords. So the question remains, what does? What requirements do create strong passwords? Length and complexity together. You can't just have a very complex password that you can't remember, because that's going to be cracked easy. But at the same time, if you have a really long password that is like all of your kids' names, maybe with spaces thrown in there or something, or you have names of all your family members and you get 5-6 different ones, they're going to figure that out too, because they're going to go through, they'll do a little bit of recon, and it probably won't take them that much. I mean, just think about how much of that information you put up on social media. If you put all of that information on social media and then you use it for your passwords, there's tools out there that are pre-built in Kali Linux or Parrot OS that are going to go ahead and take all that information that they gather from all of your social media accounts and create a dictionary to use a dictionary-based attack. So you can't have that information up on social media. So you got to use something that's random, not related to you, easy to remember, complex, and long. It's a lot to ask of anybody. If you look at, using a quote. Use a quote. Maybe use something kind of format it like I've heard web address, like a www.ericcyberventurespace.com. That's a password that's going to be really long. It's got your special characters. You can capitalize it. You can throw numbers in there all you want, and stuff like that. Now, obviously, that's not my password, so don't bother trying that. It's not mine. Another one that you could think of, how easy would it be for you to remember that, when I go and I log into my computer at work, I put in there, I love 12 turtles. And you use the numbers for 1, 2. Throw it in quotation marks if you want to. Add that extra length. Again, not a password I use. I don't use either of those passwords. It's not recommended because I've now set them, obviously, in this video. So they're out in the world. So those ones, adding that length, you're getting to the point where a threat actor or an attacker's not going to be able to crack that password through brute force. They're going to need some other way to get it. They're going to need a clear text password. They're going to need social engineering, and you're going to shore up that weak link. And it's going to help just protect your entire online security stance and your password hygiene. Now, we've all got 20, 30, 40 accounts. How do you create unique passwords that are different for all of them and then remember them all? Practically impossible. I recommend, and so do many other security professionals, using a password manager. Password managers are systems, programs that are designed specifically to house your password. Now, many of them don't. They store your password in a very tough cryptographic hash, and we'll get into what that is in a later video. I don't want to overwhelm you in this one, but they store those passwords very securely, and then on top of that, they don't allow, usually a lot of them don't have backup access, so somebody can't go in, hack your email address, reset your password, and then gain passwords to everything. They generate emails, or not emails, they generate passwords. So they generate a very strong password for you to use. That'll meet those requirements that you could have 16 characters, 12, 14, 16 characters, getting it up there. And you don't need to remember it. You only need to remember one password, which you can make that strong, random quote. And again, I'm going to go back to random. Don't use your favorite quote that you have on Facebook or Twitter your motto that you live by or something. People are going to see that. People are going to know that. They're going to have access to that information. So if you protect that account, protect your password manager with a strong password like that nobody's going to be able to guess. You just have that length of security, and you can quickly change them. You can make sure you have different passwords for it. And I'll tell you what, the password manager I use, when I'm sitting there and I'm creating an account, I'll generate my password, copy, paste. I don't have to think about trying to think of what I'm going to use for my password. I just enter whatever is generated for me. I don't care. Because you know what? It's random. It's got all the requirements, and it's not going to be something that's going to show up in a breach or a dictionary-based attack. And if I do end up getting that password stolen from that site, quick update with another random password and it's done. Whether they're going to crack it or not doesn't really matter, because that password's probably never going to be used again, and if it is, it's going to be one, two other accounts, and it's probably not even going to be any of my accounts. So when we talk about passwords, just keep in mind again, don't use weak passwords. Do not reuse credentials from between sites. So don't use the same password on every site. And it's still not a good idea to simply vary that password. So if you have a root word, and I'll go back to my other one, let's say we have, your password is 12 turtles, exclamation point. Don't just change it to 13 turtles to go to a different site. 14, 15, 16, 17. That's not that unique either. Attackers know that you do that. Attackers know that we do that. And they're going to take advantage of it. So once they get that one password, and if you keep varying it and they get 2 or 3, they realize that you're changing 1 or 2 letters, they're going to figure out your pattern and they're going to have all of your credentials. So use a password. I highly recommend to use a password manager, because the amount of effort that someone's going to have to go to get that information, it's going to be such a targeted attack that for 90% of people out there on the web, it's not going to happen. No, the most threat actors are not going to have the resources, the time, or the effort to crack your password manager, then crack every individual password in there, or your email password, or 1 or 2 passwords if they're that randomly generated password, and go from there. The amount of effort that they're going to have to focus on, they're going to target the people who do use the weak passwords like password. They're going to be the target. So kind of use those ones. So that's just some brief topics, some brief understanding of what makes strong passwords and how important password security is. And it just really, I just want to drill it into your head. Your password is your first line of defense. Do not use weak passwords, and do not repeat passwords. At that point, you're just weakening your very first line of defense. Because if someone can't get your password, then they can't get into your accounts. They're going to have to try other methods, such as social engineering and other stuff like that. And that adds that extra step, that extra work. And they're going to move on to somebody who maybe they don't have to do all that work to get into. So do not reuse passwords. Do not use weak passwords. And use a password manager. I'll get into a little bit more detail here as we go forward on how passwords are cracked, and how that cryptographical hash and how cryptography is kind of used into that into other videos. But this is really just a basic understanding of kind of what makes a good, strong password. So I don't want to overwhelm everybody. If you guys want to see something specific, or you guys or gals have questions, want to correct me, maybe you want to add something to this, please comment below. And as always, help keep me going. Help give me the drive and the energy to keep doing these videos and to keep going. Like my videos, subscribe, share, please. And I actually started a blog as well, just to kind of post more in-depth explanations and more in-depth writing about a lot of this stuff. So I'll post a link in the description of my video. So feel free to kind of go through there and read that if you want a little more reading. And I can also link to some sources and stuff like that in the blog as well, as need be. So thanks everyone for listening, and I do appreciate it. Thank you.